You are listening to an episode of The Faithful Sinners.
Welcome. Hey, welcome back to this episode of SINspiration. My name is Timothy Baker, and today I would like to talk with you about submission and pride. I'm going to take a section here from Colossians 3:18 through 25. I apologize, I have to look down at some notes here periodically, but it starts off with, "Wives, submit to your own husbands as is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and do not be bitter towards them. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well pleasing to the Lord. And fathers, do not provoke your children, lest they become discouraged." And then it ends on, "But he who does wrong will be repaid for what he has done, and there is no partiality." What that means is very clearly, it's pretty straightforward what God expects as far as our submission. And we must submit to one another, meaning wives submitting to husbands, husbands also submitting to their wives in how they're treated, kids submitting to parents. We are submitting to our bosses or our masters. We are also called to submit to our government and, of course, to God. Now, with that submission, we often get caught up in our own pride and our own belief that we are able to accomplish things on our own. We'll say things like, "Oh, I'm fine," or "I've got this. It's my problem, not yours." Well, sometimes we hide behind masks of self-sufficiency. Uh, we don't want to burden others with our problems, but what we're really saying is that we can handle things on our own and we don't need God. This may feel like it's self-protective, but it's really a form of pride that's going to isolate and weaken us. Uh, and pride is simply viewing ourselves and our abilities that don't align with reality. It's honestly one of the most effective methods the devil uses to isolate us because it makes us believe we're better off alone. So, how do we combat it? The Apostle Peter advises us to clothe ourselves in humility. 1 Peter 5:5-7 says, "Likewise, you younger people, submit yourself to your elders. Yes, all of you be submissive to one another and be clothed with humility. For God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you." And we do this by caring for others, watching over one another, accepting the authority and wisdom that others offer us. But this requires us to have some mutual vulnerability, trust, and more importantly, truth and authenticity. So treating others with humility teaches us how to respond to Jesus, because Jesus knows what we need and God wants us to cast our cares and anxieties onto him. But we cannot do this unless we first acknowledge our need for him. So when Peter says to cast our cares on God, he's telling us to come openly and honestly to God so that at the proper time, he can deliver them. And God opposes anyone who thinks that they don't need him, but he shows endless grace and love to those who seek him, as it mentions in Peter 5:5. So I encourage you today, take a moment right now, reflect on your current concerns, your current ways of engaging with others, and what is it that you need to bring to God today? Visualize actually handing him your worries and envisioning receiving his peace in return. I honestly have to tell you that my easiest days are the days that I follow this process and I turn things over to him. It's when I try to manage it alone, my days become very frustrating and I unfortunately don't seem to accomplish what I set out to do. So I hope that this is helpful for you today and it starts off your week great. But more importantly, please make sure to share so we can sin better together. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Faithful Sinners. Make sure to follow us and like us on your favorite podcast or social media site, and also check us out at thefaithfulsinners.com.